In today's video, we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful peplum cascade on the lower part of the skirt. I already made one previously, so the link to that video is in the comment section. Now, without further ado, let's head straight to the pattern drafting tutorial. Firstly, for this tutorial, you'll be needing your basic body skirt. At this point, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Click the bell notification so you'll be the first person to know when I post new videos like this. Now I'm attaching a fresh pattern paper on one side, which is going to be that very side that the peplum is pointed out at the top of the screen from the very one we are recreating, which the peplum is pointed out. If you check the one that I also made, following the link in the comment section, you also notice the same thing. So I decided to put mine here. You can decide that yours can be on the left or on the right hand side. So mine is going to be at this point. The next thing we are going to do is to determine the length of our peplum. Okay, so now I'm marking the length of my peplum all the way like so. Please, the maximum for the length of your peplum should be 7 to 8 inches, between 7 to 8 inches. All right, now I'm using my ruler to join those dotted lines together like so. And this is what it looks like. So the next thing you want to do, I'm going to be showing where this very particular stuff, the main skirt, where it started, so you're not confusing the additional pattern paper with the main skirt. So this is where my main skirt started. Now the next thing we are going to do is we want to extend, which is actually the reason why we added the fresh pattern paper. Now I extended by 3 inches. The reason for that very pointed effect. And from this part, I'm going to be joining to that 3 inches mark like so. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, of course, to cut out the excess patterns around it, so we are left with the pattern that we are working with. Like I said previously, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Click the bell notification icon so you'll be the very first person to know when I post new videos like this. Now, after taking out all the excess patterns or excess papers around it, we are left with the actual pattern that we are going to be working with. So now I want to tell you something. We have two different designs here, right? I've done one, which is the peplum. Now the very side one is the second one. So I'm going to be drawing it in like so. Now you can decide yours is going to be stopping at the knee or whatever. For the one that the link is in the comment section, I stopped mine at the knee. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to be taking it all the way down to the hem. So you can stop yours wherever it is that is comfortable for you. If you're making a maxi skirt or a long pencil skirt, you can decide to stop yours at the knee. So basically, these are the two effects we need for this tutorial. So we are going to be tracing out the whole of this part. All right. We are going to be tracing out the whole of this, and we're also going to be tracing out the whole of this parts where I marked asterisk. I hope that's understandable. So you understand as we go on. I'm going to be using different colors of paper to do the tracing, so you guys do not get confused about it. I'm going to have to do the tracing for the first one. If you noticed, I imputed my dots, so do well to impute your dots. And also went ahead to do the tracing for the inner one, like so. I also labeled, sorry, so I do not get confused. I labeled the inner, the side, the top, the hem. So I know where is the top, where is the hem, where is the side, and where is the inner. All right, you want to label carefully. So these are all the tracings. Now we're going to be working on these very tracings that we made right now. So I'll be setting the pink and the actual skirt aside so we can work on the blue. For fullness on your peplum, you have to close up these darts and open it at the hem. You're closing the dart at the waist so that you can have a fitted waist, and opening it at the hem so that you can have added fullness at the hem. Remember, it's a peplum, so it's not supposed to be like your skirt. All right, you want that fullness at the hem, though not much, but enough to show that this is a peplum. It's not same as your skirt. Okay, so that is what we are doing right now. Now some persons can decide to go ahead with this effect with the fullness at the hem, like it's okay for them. But for the sake of this tutorial, I went ahead to add more fullness to it. Like I said, you can stop at this. If it's okay for you, you can stop at this very fullness. But for the sake of this tutorial, I decided to go in more. If you check the tutorial, which I dropped the link in the comment section, I can't really remember what I did there, but if you watch the video, you will know if I added more fullness or I did not. But for this now, we're adding more fullness. And please do not go overboard. You don't want the peplum to look like the Ankara 360, 720, 1440 peplum. No. You want something minimal so that this can come out as a ready to wear and as an English wear, which it is supposed to be. So now I'm adding more fullness. I'm trying to tape it down. Okay, this is what it looks like. Then I'm chewing the hem to do this right now. Cutting out with my scissors. Okay. I decided to add more fullness around this area also. So when we talk about adding fullness, we are talking about the hem, not the part where not the waist, the hem. For whatever we're talking about fullness, we're talking about the hem for a slash and spread, especially when you want to get a flare or, kind of, except if you're gathering, that is when you have to add fullness from top to bottom. But if you're not gathering, the fullness should be at the hem, which is what we are doing now. So I'm adding just a little fullness at the hem. And this is what it looks like here. Like I said, you can decide to stop at the fullness you have from your dart excess, which you transferred to the hem. You can decide to stop at that. And also for this very pink one, you can decide that you don't want any fullness at all. For the one that I dropped the link to the video in the comment section, I did not add any fullness to the second part of the traced out pattern. But for this one, I decided to add fullness to it. So it's optional. You can decide to add fullness. You can decide not to add fullness. Whichever way is going to come out nice. But for the very one we are recreating, I think fullness was added to this very part too of the traced out pattern. That was why I decided to add fullness here. But then when you're adding your fullness, please make sure it is very little. Do not go overboard. You're not trying to get a 720 or a 1440-degree flare. Please, you're trying to do something minimal. This is slash and spread, so do not go overboard. Okay, and this is what I'm doing now. Very minimal, very minimal. Just let it be small. The fullness you're adding should be very little. And do not forget, you have to interface this. So just click the link in the comment section to the one I made previously and you will understand the sewing, everything is there. Okay. So now we are cutting out. Like so. And this is what it looks like. So these are the two patterns that we are going to be working with. No, you don't have to put it that way. Please discard this. You're not putting it that way. I'm just trying to throw something to check it out. All right. You're not putting it in that way. I'm throwing something. So I noticed that this very part is, how do I explain it? It kind of stopped at this part. So opening it up is going to disrupt the alignment because you're sewing these two things together. All right. So I had to remove it and close it back. You understand as we go on. Okay. So now on your basic skirt, of course, you're going to be sewing up your darts, which is what I'm doing now because I'm trying to put that peplum on the skirt so you can see it. On your basic skirt, you're going to be closing up your darts. So let's say you're doing this on your fabric, you have to close up your dart. So what I was explaining earlier about the two tray star pattern, I had to close up that added fullness for the pink because this very line, the straight line that crossed across, the added fullness went into that place. So it will affect the alignment of the pink and the blue on the part where I'm supposed to stitch them together. That was why I had to close that fullness I added there. Do not worry, as we go on, you'll see what I'm talking about. Also, click the link in the comment section to watch that of the one that I sewed and I wore it so you can get more better understanding concerning this very design. So, like I said, you're supposed to sew this together before attaching the very first peplum. Now, this is what the second peplum looks like, right? This is the way it is. And this is the way you should attach it. That same way you brought it out. You see the reason why I closed up that part? I had to close it up because if you do not close it up, it's going to disrupt the joining together of the blue and the pink. Please do well to join the blue and the pink together. Sew it up together before you join that blue to your peplum, to the skirts, please. Sew up the blue and the pink together. Sew it, join it on your sewing machine. If you click the link in the comment section, you will understand better because I actually sewed that one. So please do well to sew this up first. Sew it up first before joining to the skirt, to the basic full skirt. So I'm going ahead to attach it here right now. So once you are done sewing it, okay, once you are done sewing it, of course, that is when you will now start sewing the blue onto the waist of your skirt. Okay, so once you're done sewing up this side, the pink and the blue together, that is when you will now sew your blue onto the waist of your skirt. Now, after sewing the blue onto the waist of your skirt, this is what you're going to do. From this point, please watch carefully. From this point, you will now start sewing the pink on the side of the skirt. Remember the pattern we traced out? This is actually the side also, so it's going to align. Okay, you now start sewing the pink onto the side all the way down, and you're going to be having that effect. I hope you can see it. So I'm going to be using my tape here to hold it down. If you've watched this video so far, I trust that you've gained value. Please do well to share this video to other sewing platforms where they will be needed. And do well to hit the like button, give this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell notification so you'll be the very first person to know when I post tutorials like this. So you're going to be sewing it all the way down. Of course, it's going to align because that was how you traced out the pattern, right? The fullness is by the inner one. The fullness is at the inner part of it, so it's not going to disrupt the side. So it's going to align, right? So this is it. I'm done putting it together. And you guys, this is what it looks like. I'm trying to show you guys what it looks like. Can you see that? I'm trying to show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so this is what basically the whole stuff looks like. So can you see? Very simple and easy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.